Good morning. Ellen Goes here at pressure-free.com. I'm the creator of the Pressure Free Method, which is an on-the-go stress management method so that you stop the release of massive amounts of stress hormones. Talk about hormones a lot. Today, the topic is time. So I've noticed that there are some major topics that have a lot of stressors attached to them: health, money, time. So I want to dig into time today for you because pretty much all my clients have something around time. The first thing I want to talk about is how if you're someone who arrives early, on time, or late. So how would you judge yourself? Do you tend to be early to things, pretty much on time, or are you late? Whatever that typical pattern is, it's probably a little different if it involves something you really love to do or really dislike doing. So a lot of times people are totally on time for what they love to do. And but for things that are less, in their passion, then they aren't. And how that can disrupt other people being late to things can cause a lot of stress for people who are on time or early. So wherever you fall in the continuum, there can be you might not be feeling any stress, but the other person might be. Or vice versa. You're feeling really stressed about a time issue and they aren't at all. So we have a lot of hurry up and wait situations. You hurry up for an appointment and then they're running behind. You hurry up to the airport and then the plane is delayed 2 hours. So there's a lot of time shifts that can cause us to trigger the stress response. So that's another thing that I'll watch for. If I hurry up to something and then I end up having to wait. So you can prepare for some of this. You can prepare for some of this. You can have a little list. I call it the 10-minute list. A little list of things you can do if you have to wait. Because if you're someone who's typically on time, or orally, you might have chunks of time where you're just waiting, and that can cause people to trigger the stress response. When I think about time in the grand scheme of things, in the sense of humans on this planet, it wasn't till about 150 years ago, 200 years ago, that we started really keeping track of time. So time is a very human construct. We just used to naturally get up just a little before sunrise, probably had to feed some animals, and then we would have a meal. We'd then work all morning, probably outside again, and then we'd come to a noonday meal, which we might take outside, work again, and then when the sun starts to set, that's the cue to wrap up our work and come in and have an evening meal. Maybe you're in a cabin or a sod house or a hut, whatever it was that our ancestors were in, a cave. And then if it was I'm thinking colonial times, we might have a candle for a little while, but we have to make those candles. So we'll factor that in and how much we're going to use, and might just have the fire going and we'll just chat or talk or sing songs. It'll be just a very gentle time. That's so different. For millennia, humans lived this way, and it's so different than how we live today. When I was a child, there were no clocks in cars. I remember my grandfather, I was a teenager, and my grandfather was the first person I ever saw with a clock in the car. And it had sweeping hands, like as a second hand, and like it had hands. It was crazy. And and now we have clocks everywhere on our computers, on our phones. In your home, you may have a couple clocks on the appliances. In your kitchen, there are clocks. And in the car, there the little dots, the colon, it's beeping. Like it's not making a sound, but it's flashing every second. So we're literally ticking seconds when we're in our car. We're noticing micro time instead of more macro time, which is how we lived for centuries. So just with keeping that in mind, um, the first step here is to really notice, is there anything around time that causes you to feel tightness, stressed? That's a clue that that kind of an event is something that causes you to trigger fight or flight. For me, it's going somewhere and someone in the family isn't ready yet, and I'm completely ready. So I've put together little protocols to make sure that I don't overreact to the fact that other people aren't ready. Does that make sense? So some of my protocols are I'll go get the car and pull it out front. I live in a condo, so my car's over in this garage, and I'll go pull my car out front. That's one of my little protocols. Then I'm in my car. I'm not watching other people try to get ready. I'm ready to go. And I might pop on my foreign language app, or I'll do something for 10 minutes, or I'll just sit quietly. So I have created little things that I do. When I was had a teaching studio at the college where I taught for years, and I would um, tell my students, I actually in one of the studios I took the clock out of the studio I was teaching in, and I would have them, there's a clock in the hallway, come in when it was their lesson time. And while I'm still teaching the other student, they'd be unpacking, and then they're ready to go. And they get a little meet and greet, which is cool too, because they get to know each other. Then that student be packing up while I'm already teaching the next lesson. So it was completely seamless. Because my bigger stressor around time is wasting time. I like things to be in motion and action, um, a lot. So, so I didn't like wasting time. Then, so I would do this little thing. If I had a student who needed to leave their lesson on the regular time before the other person came in, so I had like a block of time, I that used to make me kind of angry. I'm like, where are they? And then I decided, okay, how can I best use these moments until the student arrives? And again, I just made a little list of things I wanted to do, pieces I wanted to work on. And so I started working on pieces that I then played on faculty recitals. So I was using the time in a way that felt good to me. So taking a look at your stressors around time, um, noting if you feel tension in your shoulders, in your belly, in your chest, like your jaw might tighten around time. Your face may tighten here. You might get those lines here. Uh, and then realize, here, oh, let me give you some more tools. So another tool is a slogan around time. And I had a client who was raised in Germany, and very, very like her family was extremely structured. And so she, when I first started working with her, even before I started working with her, she's a friend of mine. She would say, I don't have any time. I don't have enough time. And so I came up with a phrase that she loved. It was like, in any given moment, I have all the time in the world. In any given moment, I have all the time in the world. That slogan was so helpful in her just taking a beat and realizing she had far more time. Clients I'm working on with right now has a very intense morning routine. Or let me put it this way, a lot to do in the morning before getting to work. And when I shared this concept around not stressing about the time and assuming you have plenty of time to get where you need to go, that was hers. She now assumes she's going to have plenty of time, so by not triggering that adrenaline is going to make you go fast, but you make mistakes and you're frantic and frenetic. And you might like this elbow for me is no longer a funny bone because in my old house, I would like whip around in the kitchen and I would hit it on the fridge. Like I'd be making the lunches for the kids and I just like hit my elbow. And so that's because I was in fight or flight, trying to get everything done in the morning. So by just assuming we're going to have enough time, that's really, really helpful. If you get stuck in traffic, just assume you're going to have plenty of time. I know it sounds kind of silly, to even maybe even think that, but just saying it out loud, even say it in your head, say it out loud. In the scheme of your entire life, you have plenty of time. If you're sitting on your rocking chair at age 90 on your porch, would you even remember that you were stressed about trying to get to this meeting. I can't remember where I read this, but it was a classic story. It may have been Gay Hendricks' The Big Leap. I'm not sure now, but it was talking about time, and a fellow was taking the subway to his office in New York, and it's his business. So he's running this meeting, big important meeting, and the trains were delayed. So he was a watch checker, always looking at the time. He refrained from looking at he still was wearing his watch, but he was refrained from looking at it while he was on the train. When the doors opened, he still didn't look at it. Now he could run to his office, but then he'd be all sweaty. It was a very hot day. So he decided to just walk swiftly, but not look at the watch. He came into his office to the meeting room, and he was the first person there. The trains are delayed. As everyone else came in, some people had spilled coffee on themselves. They were all frantic. And what he observed is that that franticness took away from any productiveness of the meeting. That's because everyone had triggered fight or flight, and now the cortex is shut down. Like you can't think clearly. So when you can assume you'll have plenty of time and be calm about arriving at things, you're going to have more of your faculties working for you. You'll be more productive. You'll be able to see, hear, so much clearer. And that's a game changer. So if you have a lot of time stress and you want to talk more with me, just book a call. You can go to my website, lingalls.com. It's my name down in the corner here. And it's right over there too, L Ingalls. And there's a book a call button. Just click that and you can find my calendar. I wish you a fabulous pressure-free day.